It has been 10 years since we first set out on Florence to sail around the world, and this year, to celebrate that, we are attempting to sail to 10 new countries. To do that, we have sailed to the Baltic.
In this episode, we set sail for Poland, but end up back in Denmark and find safe harbour for Florence on a tiny fortified island.
Okay, that's up.
We're leaving Copenhagen, but we're not just leaving Copenhagen, we are leaving Denmark and we are en route to Poland. It's 270 miles from here, but we have got the perfect weather window that's appeared. It's been a bit of a rush to get ready to leave. It was a bit sooner than we were hoping to go, but other than this short section of upwind sailing that we've got just coming away from Copenhagen, we should have hopefully the rest of the passage downwind. So it's 270 miles-ish to Gdansk, which is the port that we're aiming for in Poland. So that's going to be about 2 nights at sea. Really looking forward to Poland. It's somewhere that we've not only just never sailed to before, but we've never visited.
We're leaving at 7 o'clock in the evening because we've been waiting for the wind to switch round to be more in our favour. So it's just gradually shifting round to the right, and it's going to carry on shifting round like that through the night until in the morning we should have proper downwind conditions. But we don't want to wait too long. We don't want to wait until those have already kicked in, because that means that at the other end we would have strong winds. So we're kind of in an ideal little weather window to get there just as the wind starts to go in our favour, but before it gets too strong and gusts into the 30s and 40s at the other end.
Just across the water is Sweden. It is so close. In fact, behind this wind farm is the bridge that links Denmark to Sweden. There's a tunnel which we're about to sail over, and then the bridge that cuts across. But we're going to save Sweden for later in our Baltic trip, when we'll also hopefully see a bit more of Denmark when we're coming back out of the Baltic. But in the meantime, we're going to make some progress east whilst the wind is blowing us that way.
Well, dawn's just coming. It's been a really calm night, but the wind died off when I came on to watch, and I didn't quite have enough patience to wait for full light to put the spinnaker up, so I did it a bit in the dark. So I've got a bit of a mess of lines to tidy up now the light's coming up so I can see properly, but we needed the spinnaker up to keep moving properly. That's beautiful flat water just gliding along over these flat seas with the spinnaker up is beautiful. And you just smell the freshness in the air. We've got the coast of Sweden just a couple of miles to our windward side, but we're not stopping there. We're going to be popping out past that and out to cross the Baltic across to Poland soon. Yeah, a calm night, a fair bit of tacking at the start, so unfortunately Amy was off watch then, so she was getting flipped across in her bunk, but since then we settled down on course. And yeah, we're making great progress. coffee.
Thank you. Such a beautiful morning this morning. Really flat water, spinnaker sailing, and we're just sailing along the last section of the Swedish coast. So enjoy a coffee and half of the Swedish twisted cinnamon bun that we got in the Danish bakery yesterday. Absolutely delicious.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's really good.
The wind is just starting to fill back in, which is lucky because it's been very slow so far this morning, but hopefully it's going to build a bit more through the day. It's looking like we're probably not going to make it to the port that we were hoping to in Poland before it gets dark, so we might have to look at an alternative or possibly just 3 nights at sea. But it's very, very chilled at the moment. There's not been much shipping around, but we're just coming to an area towards the end of the coastline of Sweden where the shipping all concentrates. So we've got some shipping lanes to cross, and then hopefully it should be quiet again.
But what a day. You can't complain about this, can you? Flat water, now we've got some decent breeze. Florence is starting to absolutely charge along, over 6 knots. This is brilliant sailing, and it's warm. I say it's warm. It's not actually warm in the cockpit because the sails are shading us from the sun. But if you come out in the sun up front, it's lovely.
Yeah.
Just approaching the shipping lanes off the southern tip of Sweden. It's actually very busy. There are lots of ships going through here. So I'm just looking for a gap. We're going along the edge of the shipping lane at the moment. And then once we get a gap, we will jibe and head directly 90 degrees across the shipping lane. The shortest distance, so it's very clear what we're doing, and we keep out of everybody's way. So we've got one going past and just staying along the edge. Once it's past, we'll jibe. On the centre line. Okay, so we jibe, we're going to go across the transom of the closest ship. Left the Genoa on the pole because we've jibed at such an angle that it will still fill a bit there and give us plenty of speed to get straight across, because there is another ship coming. There's the ship which just gone past. This is the next one we're worried about up here, and we've got all the information about it. So we can see its closest point of approach is going to be 1.6 miles. That's safe. That's going to happen in 18 minutes. We like to put these dotted lines in front of the ships and us that show where the ship is going to be in half an hour's time. We find that makes it much easier to judge where everybody's going to end up.
the next lane, the gap in the ships is so big, being able to make myself a cup of tea.
It is well known that cruising sailors are rubbish at sticking to plans. I mean, when we first came into the Baltic through the Kiel Canal, the plan was to sail to Poland and the wind blew the other way, so we decided to go to Denmark, which was brilliant. So then the plan was to go from Denmark to Poland, and we've been sailing along. It's not quite as windy as it was going to be, so we're now thinking we might get there after dark, so we're trying to work out what to do. And then, oh look, pretty island. Directly in our path, there's this tiny island of Christiansø, and that rang a bell. And we have a huge amount of information that comes from our patrons about cruising in this area. And thank you to Carl for the information about this one. We looked up his email, found out a little bit more information about the island, and changed our plans. And we're going to stop there instead, and then we'll sail on to Poland-ish, maybe, in a few days' time. But it looks beautiful, a tiny little fortified harbour on an island. Cheers, this is better than a night at sea, isn't it?
Definitely.
Much as we like sailing. It's a beautiful little harbour here, very sheltered for Florence. There's a lot of activity going on in the harbour, a lot of yachts coming and going, and the ferry as well. We just had to move Florence really quickly because the harbour master came down and said there's a ferry coming in 10 minutes and it needs to go where you are, where we and a few other yachts were, so we had to move into different places around the harbour. But it's very sheltered, and it's been sheltering ships for many, many years. The fortifications here were completed in 1685, the small tower here and the large tower that we're standing on. You can explore inside both of them. It's fantastic views out from the top of the main tower here. And the British thought that this was a bigger harbour than it was, so it shows that it's not just now that you can make a mistake in your navigation. So back then, I think it was in the Napoleonic Wars, they thought that the harbour was 5 times the size it is because they misread the charts. So the fleet came and bombarded the place, but it was too small to fit the big warships in, so it was a bit of a mistake really. But back in those days there were 600 people living to garrison the island with loads of cannons surrounding the entire place. Now there's just 90 people left living here. It's still owned by the Ministry of Defence. And I think in order to have a house here and to live here, you have to be part of maintaining the island. But it's a beautiful place to be. Some people have got little allotment plots. It's a bird reserve. There's loads of birds and wildlife surrounding as well. Lots of research into nature going on here as well. But a very worthwhile stop.
Christiansø is Denmark's smallest inhabited island. There are no roads, so no cars or bicycles. Everywhere here is explored on foot. There is a ferry link to the nearby island of Bornholm, which brings in supplies. The number of people on the island swells when the ferry unloads the day's tourists, but the atmosphere becomes much quieter after the last ferry have left for the afternoon. I think this is the prettiest military place I've ever been to. Not only are the buildings gorgeous, but there's so many sort of small sunken gardens all protected by a wall. It must be a really windswept island, particularly in the winter here, but it's helpful also today. There's just creating these gorgeous sun traps, giving protection from the wind. This one looks like an orchard, but some of them are being used as vegetable patches or just like secluded little barbecue areas. It's not just the gardens that are sunken, but there's also a few ponds dotted around the island. And I'm not sure if you can hear that in the background, but they are absolutely packed full of frogs. I don't think I've ever seen so many in one place at one time. Apparently there are two types of frogs on the island. There's the marsh frogs, which are female, and then the edible frogs, which I can't say look very edible, but they are male, and the two of them mate and they end up with offspring, which are either, again, female marsh frogs or male edible frogs. It's amazing the sound that can come from such a small creature. You can hear them in loads of places around the island. The island's a nature reserve and it's currently in the bird breeding season, so we're not allowed past the boundary of the wall, which runs all the way around the outside of the island. But it's not just birds that are outside of the wall, but there's this huge seal colony of grey seals, and they come here not to breed but to chill out on the rocks. Although they don't seem very chilled at the moment, there's lots of fighting going on. We think that they're grumpy because they're shedding their fur. We're sailing to Poland again, although we are definitely sailing to Poland this time. We're not going to get distracted by any islands en route because there aren't any. It's about 170-ish miles to Gdansk, which will take us about a day and a half, but there is a chance that we'll just stop in a peninsula, or just round the corner of a peninsula called the Hell Peninsula on the way in. So we'd like to see that. It looks a really nice sandy area that's supposed to be tourist destination in Poland, so we could see that either on the way in or on the way out. We're just going to see what time we get there in the morning and what the weather's looking like. Got a really lovely day for sailing at the moment. We're doing over 6 knots and we're sailing dead downwind, so we've got the Genoa pulled out one side and the mainsail on the other and under full sail.
Thank you very much. Mediterranean feeling.
Yeah, it's nice. Feels lovely today. Fairly flat water and sunshine. I think this is the nicest sailing that we've had so far this season.
It's the first time in a long time that we've actually put the sunshade up in the cockpit when we're sailing. I haven't needed to do that when we've been in cold places.
We're already well into our night watches, but it's only just starting to get dark. We should only each have one watch in the night, which is fully dark. Certainly a lot easier sailing in the northern summer when we've just got really long daylight hours. I love it.
Next time we continue our sail towards Poland,
Some very strange goings on.
but experience GPS interference as we get closer to Russian waters and take Florence to hell.
For extra updates in between these bi-weekly videos, and to find out what we're up to in real time, head over to Patreon and join the crew.
Continuing our voyage on Florence would not be possible without the support of our patrons. Thank you to all of you, and especially to our star patrons.